It was my first time off-boarding to a station, and not planetside. Hopefully, it would be my last. I couldn't pinpoint one thing that went horribly wrong, or took way longer, but the whole ordeal just felt off to me. A message back to my family as they checked in told me it was probably just the sheer novelty of it, which I accepted since I didn't have a better answer. With a bag of personal effects over my shoulder, and the knowledge of where to collect the rest of my checked baggage, I headed off to an employment office. Not only was this my first time on a space station, it was my first time travelling anywhere without a detailed plan set in place beforehand. It still felt crazy that I let myself get talked into it, but I had been told I was guaranteed work once I got here. What that work would be, though, was still up in the air. It wasn't far to the office, but in that short distance, I saw more xenospecies than I was ready for. A few I recognized quickly, a couple more were vaguely familiar, but several were, for lack of a better word, alien. Larson Crescott? I heard my name over an intercom and proceeded to a booth with a short green furry thing waving at me. At least it looked like it was waving. How has your arrival been so far? It didn't sound like translated speech, and its English was decent. The only part that threw me was an inability to see where the sound was coming from. Different, but not bad. This is my first time getting off a ship, but still being in space. Ah, fair. Yes, that is commonly reported as a sensation that requires adjusting to. Listening to it sounded clinical or robotic. I caught myself wondering if it was an inability or unwillingness to use contradictions. Is there a professional field you would prefer to be placed in? Not especially. I was surprised to be given a choice like that. Guaranteed employment made it sound like there was one or two jobs that absolutely needed hands, and I'd be put to work doing something menial or manual straight away. For the past while, I've just kind of done whatever needs doing, and can pay my way. Interesting, but not unexpected. Would you then consent to a questionnaire and aptitude test, to see where we could make best use of you? Consent? Seriously? Could I even say no? A part of me wanted to, just to see if they'd bring out a giant wheel, spin it, and let that decide my fate. Sure. Fun as the imagery was, I didn't want to get unlucky and wind up shoveling shit in a greenhouse again. The first half of the questions were bog standard. My physical stats were brought up, and several departments were instantly ruled out, simply because of my height and or weight. A few more went out the window due to how few languages I was capable with. Sure, there were several I could recognize and identify, but I'd always had access to translators in one form or another, up until now. Finally, I was asked something that actually made me think for a second. Do you have an active imagination? What? I trailed off, unsure of how to answer. My first instinct told me that this was the kind of question there wasn't a right answer to. Either I say yes and get ruled out because they'll have a harder time turning me into a drone, or I say no and they turn me away because I'm not creative or ambitious enough. In those moments of silence, though, my earlier gag about the job lottery came back to me. It was then followed by scenes from the various fantasy lands I'd created for myself, ever since I was a kid. Yeah, I'd say so. And you are prone to daydreaming. I wouldn't use the word prone. Shit, I was right. Now I'd have to work some magic or have them end up thinking I'm an airheaded goon, just trying to make some easy money. Very well. I am going to hand you off to someone with a better grasp of potential prospects for you. Fuck. They may as well have pulled a lever right there and dropped me down a pit into a recycling plant. The green thing turned a monitor towards me with the number 25 on it. Please head down to this numbered booth. Oh, great. A literal walk of shame. Give me time to think about how much I screwed myself, all because I figured it was better to be honest. I didn't realize how far the walk would be until I got back to my feet. I'd been interviewing at booth 7, and based on the signs they went up to 40, which felt like an arbitrary number to stop at. Past 10 there weren't people in every single booth. As I crossed 17, the creatures inside stopped speaking entirely, and then there wasn't a single body to be seen until I got to 25. I am so fucked. The words tumbled out of my mouth as I let out a long sigh. What makes you say that? My head snapped to my left as I heard the clearest English since I visited Earth. Before me was something that looked like a human male, save for the purple skin and short white tusks. I mean, all alone, separated from the crowd. Kind of felt like I was walking down death row there for a minute. I took a seat, slowly, still not trusting the situation. Heh, I get that. Never understood the practice, though. I mean, if you've decided someone is so criminal that they deserve death, why not just kill them right then? Why go through the whole song and dance or paying their room and board for months or even years? Asking the wrong guy, man. I'm not even an Earth native. Credit where it's due. There was a lot of charisma coming off of him, and I eased into the chair quickly. So why am I way out in the boonies here? We're still ironing out exactly how much of what I'm about to tell you we should tell everyone else. That got my mind racing. What kind of security clearance, cloak and dagger stuff had I stumbled my way into? You're aware of telepathy, right? Mind reading, yeah. Excellent. Well, there are a few telepathic races out there, and they like to congregate in the same places. By no means a hive mind, but there is a kind of increased sense of security and comfort when they gather en masse. Okay. That all made sense to me, but I had no idea where it was headed. And daydreaming is entirely novel to them. To a lot of species, actually. Apparently, to the vast majority of documented life forms, imagination is simply being posed a problem, and asking oneself what needs to happen to solve that problem. Playing pretend is almost uniquely ours. Ours? Yeah. Even if you all did it first, we aren't going to let you have all the credit. He got a proud look on his face and kicked back in his own chair. Then again, it may all be one and the same. Our physiologies are so similar that I feel inclined to believe we share a common, albeit distant, cosmic ancestor. Wait a minute. My mind whipped back from the short detour we'd taken. Are you telling me that we want to hire you to hide away in your head and make shit up all day? Yes. How in sweet fuck does that work? That got him to genuinely crack for a second. Man, I love talking to humans. You all have no damn filter. He started tapping the screen between us, and some digital forms opened up. We've got a bunch of administrative departments, and telepaths excel there. Instead of needing to message back and forth to clear things up, they can just think to each other right in the moment. They also fucking love having people like us around. If they get bored or burnt out, they can just tune into someone playing make-believe. It's basically free entertainment straight to the brain. Pure, unscripted stream of consciousness. And that's a job title? Not necessarily. A couple more taps and one of the forms blew up in front of me. This is a pretty new innovation, but a damn effective one. We're expanding it a bunch so that we have a lot of successful data to pull from when we decide to go official. Basically being able to say, we know it works because we've been doing it for a while now. But it's not official. I was hooked, but still a little wary. I had no problem going against the grain, especially if it meant being in at the ground floor of the next big thing. But I also liked knowing my ass was covered. No. What we're doing right now is hiring anyone we can with this unique qualification in an impaired or handicapped position. We get a nice little bonus for keeping our workplace inclusive, and you get a job where the hardest thing you have to do is click on little checkboxes. My eyes were wide open, and my jaw had nearly hit the floor. You want to hire me illegally to do base level admin and daydream all day? Yup. Sign me the fuck up. He burst out laughing at that, and I felt everything around us get quieter. Leaning back, I saw that several other booths were now looking our way. Was that funny? Yeah. You're the 5th human I've interviewed for this job, and the 5th one to hit me with that exact fucking line.